Hello, this is George Senda, the guy from Pittsburgh, scratching my knee. And by the way, this always puzzles me. Here's a card for my mailbox. Article is too big in your box. Then they put another card in, box 413. Article is too big for your box. I always get somebody else's cards. It drives me crazy. So I've got something in the mailbox. I won't be able to get till Monday. All right, this is a commentary on Toys R Us. 70-year-old firm may go under. Now, this firm is owned by KKR, who had dealings with buying Heinz and Kraft and the evil Bain Capital, company associated with, at one time, Mitt Romney, and Vornado Realty Trust. They do 15% of the toy market in the country. I know recently they had trouble paying their suppliers. They filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy. They've closed a ton of stores in California, including the one in Pleasantville, that's been here as long as I've known Kathy. And I first went into a Toys R Us where they started, in Washington, D.C. I think it was actually in Bethesda, Maryland, near the University of Maryland. And across the street, years ago, and this is one of the things in my life that you forget about after all these years, was a McDonald's. Now, you think, okay, there's lots of McDonald's. Well, they weren't in 1950, whatever it was, 58, when we lived in Washington, D.C. for a while. Then we moved back to Pittsburgh. And then we moved to San Francisco by way of Las Vegas, and then back to Pittsburgh, with a few stops in Maryland and Virginia and upstate New York and Toronto, Canada. So, across the street from the Toys R Us, or close enough that you could walk over there, and I had my dad take me in because I wanted to see Willard Scott. Now you may think, Willard Scott, why would he be associated with McDonald's? Well, he was for one huge reason. He created the character Ronald McDonald, but no big clown nose on his head. He had a McDonald's drink cup for a nose. He was the first Ronald McDonald, and you can look it up. So I got to see Willard Scott as Ronald McDonald. Then we went over to Toys R Us, and my dad bought me toys. It's where my dad and parents bought me my Gilbert Erector set, my chemistry set, my American Flyer train set, my Lionel trains, Operation Moonbase by Marx, which I still wish I had. They've gone for intact, and they're very hard to find intact, particularly with the box. Anywhere from $450 to $900 on eBay. I miss Marx toys. I miss Ideal toys. I miss all the toys of my youth. But a lot of these plastic toy companies went out of business during the 73 oil crisis. I think it was 73. Or maybe under Jimmy Carter, I don't remember. But when the oil prices shot through the roof because OPEC was able to raise oil prices, and our presidents did nothing about it. They could have. So anyway, Toys R Us was founded in 1948. They're 70 years old, and if they go under, well, there goes 15% of the toy market. Now, they have competition from Amazon, Target, and Walmart. Now, I go into Walmart all the time. I go into Target all the time. I go look in the toy section to see what's out. A lot of it is movie tie-ins, games I've never heard of. So I don't buy anything in Target or Walmart unless it's a plush for Kathy. And they don't sell Pokemon at Walmart, so we get Pokemon plushes at Target. But Kathy used to go to Walmart to get Pokemon stuff, to get Pokemon cards. When they came out with a new Pokemon game for the Nintendo, you'd have to download your legendary creature into your machine. You'd go to Toys R Us for that. Then they stopped doing that. I think that was a huge mistake. They made you go to Electronics Boutique or GameStop, and that took a lot of kids away from going to Toys R Us. And then you stopped seeing a lot of plushes for Pokemon. I don't buy bikes. Board games are still outrageously expensive. It's ridiculous. There was one thing I wanted to get at Toys R Us, one of the 8 balls where you turn it over and you ask questions. Does sewer gab suck? And it would say definitely so, or something like that. But, you know, the other reason I go into these stores and don't buy toys online, you get a little tiny picture like that. You can't, even when you enlarge it, it just still is like that big. You can't tell what it is. A lot of times these toys, like on the Matthias channel, there's no reviews for them. I like to look at the box, see what it is. I may buy some toys. I still have I have a lot of toys here, like this guy. Stormtrooper. I'm not sure where I got it from. I got it from Kathy or something. Or, or McDonald's Charizard. I've lost the wings on it. I'd have to get a triangular hex nut thing to open it up because his lights don't work. I got to find his wings. Or this fellow. Kathy didn't know what it was, but I did. This is the Quicks Strawberry Drink Mix Rabbit, and he's a weightlifter, I think. I'm not sure about that. Or a Greco-Roman wrestler, and he does squeak sometimes. Not this time. But there are other toys you can go get. I've gotten plushes at Toys R Us. I've gotten the tiger on the wall with the Reese's peanut butter cups that I've never eaten. I should cut those off one day, but when they had stuff on sale. And here is a fluffy cat. No fluffy cats at Toys R Us. But they've closed a lot of stores in California. And no one wants to buy them, according to the news report I just read. No one wants to give them money to restructure. So Toys R Us in the United States will probably go away. Now, oddly, their overseas operations are still going strong for some reason. They allied with some place in Hong Kong or Korea, I can't remember which. So they're making money overseas, but they're losing money. Oh, will you stop it, grouchy cat? Stop it. Cranky cat. See? Only man with a cat who can't pet and hold him because he growls with him. So, and part of the problem is that they took a debt. They have $5 billion in debt. Now, that boggles the mind. They were bought out in a leverage buyout and were saddled with a huge amount of debt. And then I have the headache of trying to explain to Kathy what what a leverage buyout is. And all I got from her, she still doesn't understand it after 4 tries of explaining they buy a company. The leverage buyout people get paid a fee. The attorneys get paid a fee. Everybody gets their cut. They either gut the company or they sell off a bunch of the stores to pay some of the debt, lay off people. And in the case of like Caro's and Coco's restaurant, where they did 2 or 3 years ago on April 1st with a horrible bad April Fool's joke to all the employees. They said, we're not making enough money. They closed every store in Northern California, every restaurant, and kept some open in Arizona, Southern California, and Nevada, and laid off thousands of people, and didn't inform anybody within 90 days they were required to under federal law. So, we'll probably see thousands of people out of work. I already know Pleasant Hill, Pittsburgh, and a whole bunch of stores in the Bay Area and elsewhere are gone. You don't even see the Toys R Us logo, because normally when they take signs down, the sun hitting on the wall for years has left the imprint of the letters and giraffe. They've already painted that over. You wouldn't have known it was a Toys R Us store. Of course, it's kind of dumb to have a Toys R Us next door to a Target. And some things from Toys R Us wind up in Ross's as remainders or overstock or whatever. So that's the problem. People buy stuff on Amazon, Target, and Walmart, and a big store like Toys R Us just can't compete with the price because they're doing full price stuff. All right, and Paul says the CDs are still being sold at Toys R Us. That's going to take a huge hit, and not to mention handheld gaming and PC gaming. They sell tons of Nintendo and any other of the game machines, which I can't think of right now, cartridges, CDs, and that's all going to go bye-bye. So I guess I'll all go online, or Target or Walmart will expand their gaming area once this company, the competition, is out of business. Now, they haven't made a final decision yet, but that's probably to come next week. So if you're into toys and you got kids, wait for the notice, go down to Toys R Us and get yourself some bargains, and maybe grab a couple of creatures out of the 50-cent claw or dollar claw machine, whatever it is. Have your kids ride the electric horse or electric pony one last time and say goodbye to an icon and an institution and a beloved store that fell on hard times. I'm sad to see it go if it goes, and I'll miss going into Toys R Us when I go to Target and Ross and the Starbucks in Pleasant Hill, because one thing, it gave me something to do while I was waiting for the bus. But I would still buy stuff occasionally. I bought a lot of stuff in there over the last 40 years for Kathy. A lot of plushes and games, and before there was GameStop, every electronic game for the Nintendo we bought at Toys R Us. Bye-bye, Toys R Us. It's been nice knowing you. Sorry to see you go. This is George Senda, the guy from Pittsburgh. Have a great day and stay warm, safe, and dry out there if you can. And support your local retailer, because they're going the way of the dodo too, because they're being driven to death by online stores like Amazon. Bye-bye for now.